Call to order. Madam Clerk, please take the roll. Please take the roll.
Moores.
Present.
Price.
Present.
Ballard.
Here.
Ross.
Here.
Sagasser.
Here.
Raines. Neal.
Present.
Present. Okay, 7 present. That constitutes a quorum. Let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Follow me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I'm asking for a motion to adopt the agenda.
So move.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
The agenda has been adopted. I will ask for a motion to approve the minutes.
I'd make a motion to approve the minutes.
Do you have a second? Discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We have approved the minutes of March 25th, 2025 in the regular and executive session. For the bills and financial reports, do we have a report?
Yeah, we're a little behind on the report. We had one of our employees was out for quite a while.
Okay.
And so we're missing some of the data we need to generate the report, but we'll get that out as soon as we can.
All right, so we'll move on from that. Now then, for a presentation, we're inviting the esteemed CEO of our beloved and important institution for the city.
I think Don's got
I beg your pardon. Go ahead, Councilor.
Mr. Mayor, it would be probably the good idea if we entertained a motion. Normally, we have a motion to approve payment, even if there's no financial report, payment of the bills.
Okay. I ask for a motion to approve the payment of the bills.
I move we pay the bills.
second.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We have approved the payment of the bills. Thank you, Councilor.
Yes, sir.
Now then, Mr. Calhoun, please step forward. Our esteemed guest, thank you so very much.
Thank you for the kind introduction, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. And I won't take up very much of your time, but I was visiting with Tom Relaford about a proposed project that we're working on. He asked that I would come and present to the Board of Aldermen, and so it's my pleasure to do that today. My name is Michael Calhoun. I'm the CEO of Citizens Memorial Hospital, and I've been in that role since 2022. As you know, we're in the middle of a pretty significant hospital expansion right now, and if you ever get a chance to get out by the campus, you'll see it's making a lot of progress. Some of the key things that we're doing, our ER is going to grow from a 12-bed emergency room to 29, and we're also going to have all private rooms in the inpatient and a lot of expanded services for our community, which I'm sure everyone's pleased with. My comments tonight, though, are about emergency access to the hospital, and that's a concern that we've had over the last several years. In fact, we've been trying to address this issue for about 10 years. Right now, if a patient needs the emergency department from Highway 13, they travel down 32 to Oakland, then through Oakland Street to the intersection of Oakland and 83, which has a significant risk, and entering 83 and then to the ambulance bay. And so for a number of years, we've been trying to find out a better way to direct people to the hospital. And our proposal was that we would take 430th Road from Highway 13 and improve that, and so that it would be better suited for ambulances for the safety of our population. And right now, ambulances use that road because it's the closest point of access to the emergency department. but it's narrow, and it's got a lot of different grades in it, and it's a safety concern. So in 2022, we invited Governor Parsons to come and hear about our project, and we informed the county commissioners and city administrator and mayor that we were going to ask for some funding for that road, and we did that, and we received a match grant from the governor's, I don't remember the formal name of it. What's the name of that program? Governor's Cost Share Program. So 50% match up to $4 million to improve the road, and I thought that was fantastic to be able to get that $2 million of funding, but it requires $2 million of investment into the local roads. And so for the last several years, I've been working with the county because a significant portion of the cost is with the county to agree that they would include it in the budget probably around 2027. I've got my friends from Great River Engineering here. Is that right? Yeah, 2027. So they verbally confirmed to me recently that they were going to work to include that in the budget for 2027. Their portion, so the overall cost of the project actually ended up being about 1.6 million, so 800 plus some to the state, 800 plus some local, because 50-50. The county thought that their portion would be, we got some figures here, would be about 550,000 to 580,000, and so that leaves the remainder. That would be that road, the way it goes. Part of it, the greater part of it's county, portion of it is city road, and so what we're going to do is widen that road. We want to do is widen that road and put shoulders on it, so it'll be more safe, and use that for more emergency access. So I have the figures here for that. To be honest, I'm a little disappointed that we didn't use all the money to improve it, because there's a lot that could be done there. But I guess we look at it from different lenses, and so we're only taking advantage of about 800,000 of the $2 million that's available to us in free dollars, but that's better than zero, so I'm really happy about that. So I've got the figures here. My friends from Great River Engineering have illustrations if you want to see it. If you have any questions for me, if there's anything else we should address, Mr. Relaford, I'm here for that.
Does someone on the board have a question for Mr. Calhoun?
Could we see the pictures?
Go ahead, Mr.
Are you basically
Go
asking
ahead,
us?
Mr. Ross.
Sorry.
That's fine.
I just asked for the pictures, so I think.
That's fine.
Do I need to state my name or anything for?
Yes, please. Step to the microphone and state your name, please. It's for public distribution.
I'm happy to be here in support of Mr. Calhoun. I'm Alan Irvin from Great River Engineering, and I do have a set of the plans. And here with me, I've got Guillermo as well. He's going to be answering more of the technical questions. But just to reinstate, there are two options here that Mr. Calhoun has too. Option one is the cheaper of the options that he was stating to y'all, and that takes care of overall the widening and the addition of the shoulder. Option two also takes care of the hard curves right there near the hospital, and so it kind of realigns that, makes that a safer condition. Option two is a little over $2 million, and so then it'd be $1 million from MoDOT and about $1 million private I call it private investments, but of course that'd be county and city. So the conceptual plans that we have here, I will say these also have the vertical alignment in there. Back at the beginning of this project, that was another option that everyone was considering, was just adjusting those verticals and sight distances. That was elected to not move forward, so you will not see that in the price estimates here.
We'll pass it around. We can share.
Okay.
I might also note on the more expensive option that included the vertical realignment of 430th Road, the hospital would be willing to donate the land to be able to make that possible, but there was concern that would be too much budget impact to be able to straighten that road out, because it is an additional, like I said, $400,000. Yeah, for that.
Mr. Calhoun, I was, after our conversation the other day, I was out there. I presume that, and I haven't, Mr. Ross is looking. Oh, no, that's good. That's perfectly good. I haven't looked at your plan here, but I presume that you're wanting to make it. It comes down the hill from the highway from the west, and of course it makes two 90-degree turns.
That's correct.
Or it looks like you could kind of maneuver that at the bottom of the hill and make it straight on up the
Yeah.
hill.
Talking about the area where the
Yeah.
ambulances are
Yeah,
housed,
yeah.
the old education center.
Yeah, you
Okay.
could. The proposal, sorry, I don't want to get out.
Go ahead,
out of line.
go ahead, Mr. Calhoun.
The proposal actually was to, instead of the hard right, then the hard left, is to create a diagonal across what would be the west side of where the Douglas Center is.
Yeah.
Right now, we've got some empty land there. And we thought that was a good proposal to straighten that out, because then it'll go into what would be, we would like for it to be a
Right there at
four-way
the
main
emergency room.
station, but the MoDOT said it has to remain a stop sign on each of these and
Yeah.
free-flowing traffic through
Okay.
183. But nevertheless, that's where you enter the hospital. So we would want it to go there instead of
Okay.
to the north of the Douglas
Okay.
Center.
Mr. Wilson.
Thanks for coming tonight. Appreciate it. So I guess I'm curious. You were saying the county was going to donate $500,000 for your first option, correct?
I don't know if it's donate. They were going
Sure.
to put
Sure.
550 to 580,000, and their intent was to put that in the
Sure.
budget for this
Okay.
project. Yeah.
I have two questions. Have you guys brought the option 2 to them as well? Because I think it was a 2.1 million is what she was saying. The option 2 possible.
Yes.
Okay. So my question to you, are you asking the city to finish the rest of the amount that it's going to cost for this project, or?
Yes, as a consideration for the budget for 2027, that's what we've asked the former mayor and the city administrator, and they asked me to come and share with this with
Sure.
you all. So yes, we're asking for that. So there's going to be the county portion, the city portion,
Mhm.
and then the state portion is 50% of the overall project.
Sure.
So
Are you guys going to be also putting funds into this project as well, or are you just trying to get the county and the city?
yeah, we're going to build the hospital. So, no, we're not going to.
No, and I'm just-
build roads.
You sure? I'm getting questions on that. So I just
Yeah,
wanna be
and we've been
transparent.
asked that too.
Is that this?
I just think from a philosophical perspective and being good stewards of the funds, we ought to put the funds that we have toward healthcare. That's our mission.
Sure.
I don't know that we've been completely a no on that, but we've been waiting to see what the city and county were willing to do in their road budget.
Sure. Again, I'm getting questions asked, and I just wanted to make sure
Sure.
we're transparent with our constituents. Of, right?
Absolutely.
This is what we're being asked of.
Okay.
Quick question.
Yes, Mr. Ross. Go ahead.
How many people does hospital employ?
Yeah, well, the entire organization is 2,400.
400. With the expansion, do you have any idea the job creation, the potential? And I know you guys are also doing the dialysis center right across the street. So with the expansion of that,
Yeah.
The amount of potential job creation in the community, do you have any idea of numbers of that?
So that's hard to answer. So the dialysis center itself will be somewhere between 15 and 20 jobs, right? But then it creates dialysis services in the in-center, but also in the inpatient side, the long-term care facilities, the home. So it grows all the other services, our ability to keep the patients here. So the ER on day one, will go to a 29 bed, but our census isn't going to go from 55 overnight to 70.
Yeah.
We've staffed based on census. So, every year we're adding a significant number of jobs in our budget, and it's through the growth of the services. The new hospital is going to allow us to continue to grow those services and provide a home, a place of care, for services that are being rendered right now, it's just going to be more appropriate in size. So I don't really know exactly. I do have some forecasts actually that talk about the job growth, but those estimates are just that.
So, next question, and it's maybe even tougher than those to answer. Every time I'm at CMH, there's always, people who are coming in from other communities to use the services at CMH. Do you have any idea how many patients CMH services or potentially could service with this new hospital as far as bringing people into the community?
Yeah, it's going to be significant. So some statistics that I can share. We serve about 20,000 people that come into our ER every year. Our capacity is going to more than double. I won't say that we're going to jump to 40,000, but it'll be significant growth there. We serve about 325,000 patients in our physician clinics every year. That's a lot of people in the 8-county area. We add specialists every year. So what I'm actually concerned about is that the expansion is going to draw not just from our 8-county area, but also from North Springfield, as there's more of a reputation for better wait times in the ER and a better facility. And I'm not sure we really know how much it's going to grow. And so we've got even plans for the next expansion if it does significantly grow, which I'm actually concerned that we've not built big enough, to be honest.
We have the map up there. I didn't know if you wanted to refer to that now or, Mr. Calhoun, I guess I missed the road that comes in from the highway. You can see it on the left up there. And of course, that famous zigzag that we go through now. Could you explain to me again why it can't, the improvement can't be just a straightening?
Yeah, because the entrance to the hospital campus is going to be where Parkview Street meets Oakland
Right.
Avenue. Actually, where Parkview Street or the road that we have
Yes.
on our campus that meets Oakland won't be at our entrance. It actually.
I know there would be a little zigzag, a little.
It actually probably, I don't say that, it might be considered that it be closed, that entryway to the highway.
Really?
When you look left, it's extremely dangerous to enter 83.
Well, the cars are coming at a pretty good rate right along
And
there.
you can't see them. You actually can see them better from where we come out of the hospital
Well,
now.
yeah, of course, right.
Because you're at the crest of the hill.
Yes, right.
So I wouldn't advise that we enter 83. In fact, I think everybody's at risk.
Is that right?
Degree
Okay.
When you come off
All right.
of the
Well, I hadn't
campus.
thought about that. Coming up the hill there.
So our four-way at Mays Station is going to be the main entrance of the hospital.
Yes, right.
And also where the ambulance bay is.
Right.
So it makes sense that you're trying to get there.
Yeah, I'd like to be. That's where you want to be. I just was thinking about it being simpler to.
It would
do
be,
that.
and we originally proposed that until we started looking at the line of sight from the hospital campus on
Okay.
83, and
Okay.
actually it's the worst visibility of the
Okay.
various places that you can get off and on.
Yes, Mr. Ross. please.
With the improvements to this road, I think there's a low water bridge over there somewhere. Will this do any improvements to the low water bridge?
Yeah.
So it's actually a culvert there that we'll have to, even with the 2 foot that we're adding on the sides, we'll have to get extended. And there's already been an extension before that we'll most likely have to recommend, like going back and removing that part and extending it correctly. Because what happened on that one, it wasn't cast in place, it was precast. And then it looks like they added a cast in place box to attach to that. And it's not the most efficient right now.
Okay.
So you
there-
will have to cut back at least about 8 feet on each side and then build kind of add a connection.
So that improvement's planned for in this?
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Yes.
Yes. Alderman Morris.
I guess one more to follow up on that.
Yeah.
Don't we have a pump station like right at that?
So
bottom area?
yeah, so that's another thing. with the realignment, so the second option, the one that's 2.083 million, that option realigns those two curves that are pretty sharp with two different like S curves, so it's a horizontal realignment. And I believe Mr. Michael Calhoun, he proposed having the hospital donate part of the land there to make that change. So that would be a big thing coming from their side, trying to get this project going and kind of making it safer for ambulance and, you know, people that are going to be driving it too.
Alderman Price, did you have a question?
I do have one question.
Yeah.
The hospital bought that property right there, that White House, or I don't know if it's white, I think it might be blue, with the
not, but I
barns
know
and everything.
Right.
Okay. The only private property owner right there would be Robert Jurgen, right there on the corner. Are you purchasing it, or how does this affect him?
I honestly don't know how that road would be accessed. Sure. And actually, this is the version, this is the version that's not approved,
Yeah.
right?
Well,
We're not,
I really don't want a citizen to be severely inconvenienced on his home.
sure.
And,
Yeah.
and he does have an excavation company, so he's always in and out of
Yeah.
there with dump trucks and large equipment.
So we looked at a couple options for the lift station, how to access it, not only for, you know, the city or the people maintaining it, because they bring pump trucks and they have to haul stuff out or replace parts. So one option was to kind of end, if we do the horizontal alignment on the road, this Parkview Road going to those houses will kind of dead end. The other option is to like continue it all the way to the lift station and keep that as an outer access for just the property owner and the lift station, which I think, from my experience, I feel like that's what the people maintaining the lift station would like.
Okay.
To kind of, because it creates it makes it safer for them to park their vehicles and work on the lift station without having to worry about all the traffic coming through.
Right, and
And-
the street, however you're wanting to straighten it, does that affect how he gets to his home?
It shouldn't.
Well, it shouldn't from the west, it would from
You see where I'm talking about, the bottom
I don't know if
left
it
corner,
would.
right below the,
if it was an outer road. Yeah.
I mean, he would still have access either way. It'd be almost the same. It's just the road is gonna be straighter, and he
Okay.
might have to make a sharper turn. But it's coming into a driveway where you're like slowing down to make that turn. It's gonna be almost, I think, safer, because right now his access to the property is right at that turn. With the realignment, we're actually moving it from being on the turn, on the curve, to like on the straighter part. So it gets a little bit realigned through there.
Okay.
And there's also a pretty big ditch there that we will have to realign with the road. So,
And to be clear, that's on option 2, that's the larger contribution option.
Yeah, so option 2 was the straightening of that piece, which would cost the city more because it's on the city's side. We actually didn't propose that back to the state when we were proposing a project to get funded because of the cost. There would be matching funds for that. The hospital did propose to donate that land and wanted to include that land value as a part of the matching, but that was not permitted. So we looked into that.
Alderman Wilson?
This question is for our city administrator. How's this going to look on our budget coming up?
Go ahead, sir.
I mean, yeah, I mean, we're definitely, it's gonna impact our budget. We're gonna have to, at this amount of money, we're gonna have to move some things around and figure some things out to fund something to this size.
Okay.
I
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Ross.
I just want to say, appreciate the investment that you guys have made in the community with the expansion and, the amount of people that's coming in with dialysis center. And I think John tells me all the time, you guys are the biggest employer, in the area, and he kind of, brings that up often. So, we really appreciate I do the effort and the investment you guys have put in to the community and job creations and the amount of people that, come into the community. And of course, when they're community, they'll eat here, they'll eat gas here, they'll shop here. So yeah, I mean, it's a partnership that I look forward to, continuing in the future. So
Yeah, thank you.
Further, yes,
What did you say, and maybe I missed it, what the actual number was that you were hoping for our contribution would be?
Yeah. So 550, so 828, 829 minus 550. So 3
3 plus. 3 plus.
2 plus.
2 plus.
2
Yeah.
plus.
That would be for the first option.
For the option that doesn't straighten the road out by our campus.
Mayor, may I ask a
Yes,
question?
yes, please, go ahead, please.
Can you explain, I guess I maybe didn't catch it, why you, I understand the second option is more expensive, but why that was not what you went forward with to the state, given that it does smooth out those
Yeah.
those curves?
Well, when you say, I'd like for the county and city to spend $2 million on the road project, and they go, we don't have $2 million. You go, how much do you have? And so that answer is not exactly zero, but we were starting there, and we were negotiating, and so I actually think there were more improvements that were included in the original request that we made, that we gave concessions on, out of for the sake of being frugal.
So,
I mean, that I don't know.
no,
how
no,
else to
I
say
guess
it.
I'm trying to understand it. I do not drive an ambulance, so I cannot speak to what it takes, like what a safer road to drive on would be, and what the different different improvements, how much value they bring to making that road more navigable for those ambulances. But my instinct would be that those turns would be a significant factor. I assume the fact that you're not asking for that necessarily means you think that the widening and the curbs add more overall to those being more safely and quickly traveled by ambulances than the smoothing of the curb or of that particular curve would do.
I do actually. It's the longer part of the road.
I could tag team if you'd like.
Yeah, do you agree with that?
Yeah, no, I mean, you have to think, like, we're doing patient care in the back of the ambulance, and so you have to think with all the turns and all the weather, and, like it or not, your adrenaline's going when you're trying to save somebody's life, and trying to get to the hospital. And so, I think they've done their due diligence with their services to do what's best, for the ambulance, but, it's not easy driving on the road. Even driving through town here, kind of to your point, is, there's bumps everywhere on our main road to the hospital, and it's not easy to do patient care coming to the hospital. So, I support this. I think it's a good idea to have better roadways to have better patient care. So.
Oh, I don't disagree. I actually was trying to make the point of why are we not asking for
Yeah.
more?
If there was tolerance in the budget, which it would be a significant increase from the city's perspective, because that road that we're talking about is city owned, then the hospital would be supportive of straightening out those corners and making it a better. But I'm just, from my perspective, I was just trying to get acceptance of the project, and if it's a lower dollar value, you get more acceptance. And so
I have another question if I may.
Go ahead, ma'am.
Okay. So to that end, is there any way with the cost share or otherwise that it could be broken up into phases so that the impact on a budget year wouldn't have to be so extreme? My thought is if we think that this project is worth doing, I would rather us do it well. I would rather us not do it cheaper and less effectively. And I'm sure that the fact that you're here representing option one means that option one is not ineffective. That's not what I'm trying to say. But wondering if there is any potential for spreading that impact across budget years in order to make sure that the final product accomplishes everything that we would like to see it accomplish?
So unfortunately, I do not have a direct answer to that, but I know how we can find that answer. So your MoDOT program agreement with the governor's cost share does have very, very strict outlines of how that money is to be utilized. But you have a great representative in MoDOT named Frank Miller, and he would definitely have that answer. And so I'd be happy to reach out to Frank Miller. So I just wrote down your question if you can phase that out. I will say too, I do have some previous experience with the governor's cost share on some other projects. And as long as that application included everything that you are aimed at achieving with this roadway, then it should be acceptable. And hence why you have the $2 million match from MoDOT. So with that, you do have the widening in there, you have an overlay in there, you have the vertical alignment, and you have the horizontal alignment of the area that you're talking of. So all of that is at your disposal, but I'd be happy to take that back to Frank Miller and get an answer for you.
Further questions?
It kind of.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
To Ms. Neal's point, like, we've worked really hard to get our budget to where it is now. I'm 100% supportive of CMH, and this project sounds great. It's kind of scary, and if we can break it up, that would be even easier on our budget, just because we've worked so hard to get where we are right now with our budget. So if we can figure that answer out and hopefully it goes our way, I'm great. But
Further questions?
Mr. Mayor, what are we hoping to accomplish on this tonight? A decision?
I think no. This is not a decision night.
Okay.
This is a presentation, and I think we've got millions laying around. I imagine that we can probably do that tonight, couldn't we?
No, sir.
No, sir, we can't do that tonight. No. Do you have closing remarks, sir?
Well, I'll just say I appreciate your all's support, appreciate being able to be here to talk a little bit about what we're doing, and maybe we could schedule a time for you to tour the facility in the near future if you all have interest in that. I'd love to show you our project. So,
Of course.
Thank you.
Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
It goes without saying an enormous importance that CMH is to our community. And we've got to build a very strong relationship, and I know all of us would love to do everything we can to help you. We've got some important decisions and considerations to make.
thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you so much. Okay, moving on. I'm going to entertain a motion see, we've gone to that. Okay, I'm going to entertain a motion to nominate a Board of Aldermen member for a one-term stint on the Planning and Zoning Board.
I nominate Alexis.
Second that.
Okay. Are there further nominations? Okay.
Congratulations.
I think I need to entertain a motion to accept the nomination. I'm entertaining a motion to accept the nomination.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. Discussion?
You can
Seeing
vote.
none. Those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? You opposed? There's one opposed. Okay. All right. Alderman Neal has been appointed now officially to the for a one-year term as a member of the Planning and Zoning. All right. I am entertaining a motion for a 4-year term reappointment of Ed Kurtz and Nathan Evans for a stint to a reappointment on the Planning and Zoning Commission. I am entertaining a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that we appoint Ed Kurtz and Nathan Evans to the Planning and Zoning Committee.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Discussion. No further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? The ayes have it. So we have reappointed Ed Kurtz and Nathan Evans to the Planning and Zoning Commission. I'm entertaining a motion for a one-year term for the appointment for Dr. John Best to fill the vacancy on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Mr. Mayor, if I have a question, please.
Go ahead, please.
Can I, and this is your recommendation, correct?
It is.
Can I ask why you are recommending this?
Because Dr. Best's past experience, both as the mayor and as a member of the Planning and Zoning Commission, not only as the time on that, but Dr. Best was very instrumental in helping change the what I have called the culture from City Hall that stymied a lot of development, and I think that his contributions to changing that culture has been evident since then, and for that I believe that he is qualified to serve. Yes, Mr. Sager, sir.
Whose place, who has resigned? What vacancy do we have?
Mr. Elford?
Mr. Lee has that
Mr. Lee?
answers.
Dr. Kwesi Oforiaboa
okay.
resigned. Yeah, so he's been on the commission for a while and decided to step off.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Okay. Further discussion? Okay. I'm entertaining a motion to appoint Dr. John Best to fill the vacancy on the Planning and Zoning Commission.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, a second? Okay. Do we not have a second? Okay. Mr. Morris?
I just want to make a comment on here. I don't get this often, and I'm not trying to call anything out too much here, but I did get community feedback on this one, and I do just want to reiterate, I mean, this is your decision. You're wanting to appoint him into this, and you have enough.
Well, it's your decision. If the board does not agree with this, then we don't do it.
Mr. Mayor, can I have a comment?
Go ahead, Mr. Rowe.
Kind of the Alderman Morris's comment. We get a lot of phone calls. Most of the time, this last week, I've been getting more than normal
Okay.
with this appointment.
Okay.
And, you know, we have to remember that we are the community's voice. And, you
Right.
know, so that's what I'm basing this on as well.
Fine. If that's the consensus of the board, then we'll withdraw the nomination. Okay? That's fine. All right. We'll do that next. We'll make another appointment and bring that up at the next meeting then. All right, that's fine. Okay. Now then, I am entertaining a motion to reappoint the city attorney.
I make a motion to reappoint Don Brown as our city attorney.
I'll second that.
And discussion? Seeing none, that I guess now then, all in favor? Aye. All opposed? The ayes have it. We have reappointed
Is he willing to do it?
Yeah, are you willing to do it?
we have reappointed Mr. Don Brown Esquire for a one-year term as the city attorney. Now then, I will move on to a resolution of reaffirming the city's Bolivar's commitment to public safety, including the commitment to reduce violent crime within the city and affirming the city's desire to be designated a Blue Shield city pursuant to the State of Missouri Blue Shield program. And on page, I don't guess the pages are numbered, of our worksheet, that the resolution, I guess you can follow along if you would, but I'll read the preamble and we'll move on from there. Whereas the state of Missouri, through the Governor Mike Kehoe, has offered Missouri cities an opportunity to be designated as Blue Shield cities. This new state program requires the city of Bolivar to commit to public safety in several ways to support their police department and lower violent crime. Criteria for consideration of Blue Shield City designation includes the following. It talks about a number of things here. Passing the resolution, demonstrating public safety funding, development of policing initiatives, and so on and so on. But I think you can follow along, and if so pleased, I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution number 2025.03.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
What are the costs associated with the Blue Shield program?
Let me ask the city administrator.
There is no cost. Actually, if we are approved for this program, we'll have grant opportunities and training opportunities for our department.
My concern is, can I keep going?
Yeah, go ahead, please.
My concern is Governor Kehoe will have $10 million at his disposal for this program, and that's throughout the entire state. Now, Kansas City, St. Louis, Columbia, Jeff City, Springfield, they're going to take a great portion of that. Are we going to really have a chance at these grants?
I think so, but I'm not administering the program, but I sure think it's a good look for our police department, and I think this is an opportunity we can't pass up.
Okay.
Mr. Ross, please.
I mean, on that note, if it doesn't cost us anything to apply for the grant, even if all those other communities get it and we don't, at least we're, trying, and what happens when we get lucky and get something out of it. So, yeah, I mean, if there's a cost associated to it, I'd be a little more leery, but, the fact that it's
Staffing that have a lot of work to do.
We're already
No
doing
cost.
We're
So-
already doing most of it.
Yeah, so what
Okay.
the process is, this needs to go into our application. Basically, the board is saying we're committed to doing these, 5 or 6 things listed in those bullet points, and that will be part of the application that Chief Van Tassel and his staff is working on right now. It has to be submitted by June 1.
So that will progress after we have we've accepted the resolution then?
Correct.
Okay.
Need a
All right.
motion?
Okay. Is it time to ask for a? Okay. I will entertain a motion to accept the resolution number 2025-03.
So moved.
Second.
Okay. And so we've had a second. Further discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We have accepted the resolution number 2025-03 to be a Blue Shield city. Okay. Mr. Administrator, please tell us what's going on.
Good evening. All right, you got a few items from the board. Okay, the street overlay bid is going out tomorrow. So we have budgeted $320,000, so I think the board's all had a chance to provide input to that. So that will be going out for bid tomorrow. The information technology RFP is out right now. It's a bit, we spend a lot of money on our IT services. Right now, J-Mark's our provider, so that is going to go out. We'll have information for the board probably by June. We're finalizing our insurance application for upcoming renewal for July. Right now, we're working on the property and inland marine, And right now, we're expecting about a 10% increase, which is about $15,000. And that's kind of what they've been telling us, and we got the initial numbers, so about $15,000 extra.
I'm sorry, I missed that. Say it again, please.
About a 10% increase for our property and inland marine insurance. So all of our city property, City Hall, across the street, that's not including, that includes like our cars and stuff like that as well.
What does 10% mean?
About $15,000, $20,000 to $20,000.
Okay. All right, that's just budgeted, I presume.
Yep. Well, we'll budget for it come next year.
Okay.
Correct. Okay. So good news, and I think you can pull it up. This community development block grant. So I don't know if you all remember. This is something we've been working on for quite some time, and it started where we mailed out a survey, an income survey to the community. We finally finished all that out. We've been designated and qualified as a low to moderate income community, which qualifies us for this community development block grant. So we put up some information here. It's a HUD grant, federally funded, pretty broad grant. Allows us to put in for a lot of different type of community development initiatives. Go to the next slide there. So an example might be what you see here is like an addition to our rec center. Again, this is a really, really broad grant. This is the first time we've qualified for it. It's going to be a 4-year grant. The window's going to be opened up pretty soon. So this is just a rendition of something that we might put in for in the future. There's no like specific matching or anything like that. So it's a really good opportunity. It's something we definitely need to try to take advantage of.
What kind of activities do you think would be a part of the addition?
Well, I mean, right now we don't have.
You just haven't gotten that far along. Right?
Well, I mean, we have, we use our rec center a lot, especially during certain seasons, basketball, volleyball, and as you might know, we don't have enough right now to support our kids. We have to go to SBU, the school, and other places to have enough courts to have some of these sports. So, expanding the rec center would allow us to do most everything in-house and not have to rely on other organizations to help us.
Okay, all right.
So, again, it's a very broad grant. We've been working with the SIMCOG, and we will put application in the near future in for something like this, working with the board. Welcome signs. So if you've seen the welcome signs lately, the lights are functioning. A few little hiccups here and there, but we're working on that with the contractor. We are going to have the flag poles up here pretty soon. First ones will go on the south side, and then we'll finish up on the north side, do some landscaping, and we're going to be pretty close to being done with it. We have a meeting Thursday to talk about some kind of dedication ceremony, and so we'll get that information out to the public as soon as we do that. The police chief search continues. We've narrowed down our candidates. We've sent them a written assessment. That assessment is due tomorrow, and the board will be meeting Thursday for a special executive session to even further narrow that candidate pool down and prepare for interviews for our finalists. Okay. That's Thursday. Playground, if you've been out to the rec center, that is really moving along. All the equipment is up. Now the only thing left to do is pour the concrete and put and then after that, which takes about 2 weeks to cure, then we have to put the pour and place surface down, that padded surface that we've paid for. So the hopes is that that's going to be done, and we're going to plan for some kind of ribbon cutting ceremony to coincide with Touch a Truck. If you all remember, we have Touch a Truck every year where we line up a bunch of vehicles from different organizations, and the kids can come out and get on the dump trucks and honk the horn and everything else, and we'll hopefully coincide that with our dedication ceremony. So that's May 23rd, and that'd be in the afternoon.
I think May 23rd.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and lastly, it's already here. Next Monday is citywide cleanup. So April 28th, next Monday. Again, we've posted a lot of information. We've talked about that. Expect the city to be at your house Monday morning at 6 o'clock. So assume your stuff's going to be picked up Monday morning at 6 o'clock. I think we made that pretty clear. We've put the information out of what's acceptable, what's not acceptable, how much you can put out, and we're ready to go. Hopefully the weather will cooperate, but Monday morning is showtime. All right?
Where is that information? I need it myself.
On the website?
It's on the website.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, on the website.
That's all it was an answer I
Are we
hate.
going to have in the newspaper one more time? Already been in the newspaper once, multiple times. So the best thing is go.
I had to read in the newspaper too.
Yeah, social media. How many times have we put it up in social media? Multiple.
Do you have a list of that stuff?
Yeah.
Do you have a list of that stuff?
And if you have any questions, please call City Hall. Yeah, we've trying really hard to make sure everybody knows exactly, what the guidelines are.
Okay, very good.
Okay, that's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Questions from the panel? Guys, you told us everything we could possibly want to know.
Yeah, I hope so. Thank you.
All right. Okay, moving on to old business.
Oh, no, we gotta vote on it.
Oh, whoop. Oh, we have to vote to approve that?
Yeah.
Okay, I entertain a motion to approve the administrator's report. Further discussion? Seeing none. Those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. We have approved the administrator's report. Let's move on to old business. Dog park update. Who's a dog park expert? Mr. Lee, thank you very much. Please come forward.
Didn't know whether I should come if that's the introduction, but I am here to give just an update on the dog park. That's been a project that the city's been looking into for a number of years, as well as some mention of that in our comp plan. So we've endeavored to look into that from the staff side, as well as there's been some involvement from the community. We have identified a general area of location that is right now proposed, and we're working with the property owner in the Vineyard area. So that would be near Aldi, off of Boston, to the west of Boston, if you're familiar with the real estate.
The road that no one knew and now everybody uses.
Yeah, it's commonly used, yes. So just there behind Stellar Real Estate is an area. There's a detention area that flows there. There's kind of a creek bed that runs down through there. And so that's been an area that the owner has identified with the committee, and the staff have looked at that as well. And it looks like a good potential for that location. So we are now.
Is it just not suitable for development? Is that, but suitable for dogs?
Suitable for a dog park development.
Okay,
yes.
all right.
Yeah, it's obviously it's something that sits and will be appealing to those that are right nearby, but it'll also have parking where people can drive to that area. So we're looking at about 1 to 1.5 acres, and then that'll be divided up into small dogs and larger dogs. And those areas will be fenced. We'll have some amenities for dogs within it, and further design and all is ongoing. We are going to be doing a lot of that in-house, and we're working with the owner, as I mentioned, to get some contract details for donation of the property, as well as generating some design to go to the community. There's been a lot of community involvement and desire for donations to move towards that, from our understanding. So some others are taking on that portion of the project. But from the staff side, we're plugging away to help with the design, and we'll probably help with some dirt work and things like that once it gets to that phase. But we'll have some more update once it comes, if there's land donation and once we begin a design. So I think at this point it's just to note that it's ongoing and to give the idea understanding of that general area. So happy to answer any questions.
Years ago, when I first had a dog park, I thought it was the most ridiculous thing I'd ever heard of. but it seems to be a really popular item now that many cities have. Are there questions or comments from anyone on the panel?
Real quick.
Mr.
so
Ross, go ahead.
Every time we do surveys and things like that, isn't usually dog park like number one, number two of what people want to see?
Yeah,
in the
very,
community?
very frequently, and Todd probably remembers more in the Parks and Rec surveys. It's certainly been one that's been at the top. It's been a part of discussion. And this community group, there's members of the community that are wanting to take on, fundraising and things like that. And so that's obviously good to see and shows the need. I don't know if you have anything else to add there. But.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
The survey, Jill helped us with the survey here a couple years ago, and that was one of the top things. And then it also ties in, like Kyle said, the comp plan that the city put together 3 or 4 years ago. So it check boxes a lot of things that we're trying to do.
Mr. Elford.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, just a reminder, we have budgeted money this year for this project, $20,000.
Okay. Can you build a dog park for $20,000?
We can build some of it for $20,000. That's right. Like I said, there's been a desire to see community involvement there.
I mean, there's excavation or
there will be some dirt. Largely, it's the fence. The fences
Yeah.
and the concrete work for path entry and exit parking areas. I mean, those would be the high dollar items.
and the plastic fire hydrants.
Yeah, we can probably get some old fire hydrants for a pretty good discount.
All right.
Yeah.
Further discussion? Thank you, Mr. Lee, for that enlightening update. And you have you've assured yourself as the dog park expert. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm supposed to read this next item. It's the Bill 2025-22, an ordinance authorizing a lease agreement. I am to ask for a first reading, am I not?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Go ahead, Counselor. Wait.
As for us, like Steve will say a first reading, and then I'll second.
Yes.
First reading.
Okay. I'll entertain a motion for the first reading of the bill 2025-22.
First reading.
Second.
Go ahead, Counselor.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. This is Bill number 2025-22, ordinance number 4044, an ordinance authorizing a lease agreement with DLL Financial Partner Solutions for the lease of golf carts from Clear Creek Golf Car and Vehicle for the city's municipal golf course.
Second reading.
Discussion? If not, entertain a motion for a second reading.
Second reading.
Second.
Counselor.
This is Bill number 2025-22, ordinance number 4044, an ordinance authorizing a lease agreement with DLL Financial Partner Solutions for the lease of golf carts from Clear Creek Golf Car and Vehicle for the city's municipal golf course.
Okay, discussion? Seeing none, I think this is a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Sagasser.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Wilson.
Aye.
Morse.
Aye.
So there are 7 ayes and 0. Any opposed? Seeing none, the ayes. We have adopted Bill number 2025-2022. All right, move on to new business. To the community development, to the annual report. Mr. Lee, can you step up again, please, sir?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I will try to move quickly through this, but however you'd like to coordinate, I'm happy to answer questions at any point within if they pertain to the particular slides we may be on. But this would be similar to what we've shown in years past, but want to give an update to the board and the community related to our community development team. And the members of our team are here on the next slide. My name is Kyle Lee. I'm the Community Development Director. We have Lacey Hamby in our Planning and Zoning, Stephen Rose, who has been training as another building inspector and is also our MS4 coordinator. Kevin Kelly does all sorts of tasks for us within the department as our community development coordinator. Gary Sims is our street and maintenance supervisor, and Danielle Doty is our newest member, and she's our community development assistant, primarily involved in code enforcement for the department. So just to run quickly through, what is it that we do? I'll show these broken down into the various departments, but community development covers quite a few different areas. Some of the sometimes easier to say what is not involved. We aren't involved in the day-to-day city clerk activities that happen here at City Hall. We aren't involved in the police department directly or the fire department directly, but other than that, a significant involvement in other city services, not involved in the parks directly, but of course we have crossing, as we all do within the city, as a team here. So planning and zoning, just a quick comparison to our previous years. You'll see we have, in 2024 saw pretty steady movement within our boundary changes, lot consolidations, preliminary plats, final plats. And so this just, is representative of development overall. As you can see, really in the last 5 or so years, we've had a fairly consistent move in that. 2022 and 2023 were pretty active, as well as 24. So the indicators of this, if it's flat, we don't have a lot of folks that are trying to change the zoning of their lot because they're either selling that or redeveloping it. They're maybe we don't have, if it were flat, we might not have new developers platting areas and things like that. And so even without looking at this, you're familiar with the community. You can look around and see that there's lots of construction activity. There's lots of things going on, new subdivisions and developments of that nature. A more zeroed in look is the permits, our multi-year comparison. You can see a pretty similar trend of growth. If you look just there from 2019 to 2024, we've had a very consistent growth in our residential permitting. We had 108 new construction residential permits this last year, and that's a lot, and it's reflective of we had a housing study that was conducted a number of years ago and identified that need. We've had some developers that have invested significantly within the community and some builders that have begun that construction, and so that is ongoing. Our commercial is similar, of course. Commercial involvement, to see that consistency is good to see. Another area that we in the community development department cover is MS4 and stormwater. The MS4 department is a little bit different than if we would refer to stormwater broadly within the city. The MS4 deals with our outfalls, the city's outfall locations, and within creeks. And then for those, we're required, this is a program that the state, when a community is over 10,000 in population, we participate in, are required to participate in and log different aspects of our stormwater program. So we do that. Could potentially send violations if it was necessary, or identify areas that need repair, things like that. Again, I'm referring to city-owned outfalls in those types of locations, as well as working to implement our stormwater ordinances, which you may recall was a significant overhaul just a couple of years ago. Another aspect of community development is our building department, building inspections. We conduct about 1,200 to 1,500 inspections a year. Some of those are, a lot of times we might have an on-site visit that isn't necessarily to the point of writing an inspection report. We may have show up to sites that aren't actually ready or just need consultation. But these are some of the common types of inspections that we do, everything from footers, foundation, through mechanical, electrical, plumbing, structural, framing. People might wonder, when it comes to larger commercial structures, what do we do in our department? Well, we do also engage. It's very common even for significantly large communities. We also engage with third-party inspectors, so we'll spend a good bit of time reading reports based on specialized engineering. So, for instance, we go to CMH when they're pouring 35-foot deep caissons in the ground, and we witness those. We look at the rebar and all of that, but we also receive a third-party report for someone who's specialized with concrete and densities of concrete, break tests, and things like that. Of course, really no municipality conducts those types of things. I shouldn't say no, but it's very uncommon. It's more common to utilize third-party services. So when it comes to some of these larger projects, we're engaged in the project as well as engaging with a third party, and that cost is borne by the developer. You know, the construction is part of the construction process. So, code enforcement is another aspect of community development. I had just a couple slides here of common violations. A thing I would note, you know, about code enforcement is we're at the time of year where that starts stepping up. Spring, tall grass and weeds that exceed 12 inches in height. You know, our nuisance violation or our nuisance ordinances require that to be cut
by my
regular.
house.
What's that?
Please don't come by my house.
Yeah. And we try. This is a good point. We try to be reasonable. We want to. We always want to engage with people in a customer service oriented basis. You know, our goal in community development is with code enforcement is never to just needlessly harass or harangue someone. It's only that, you know, there would be equal and fair compliance with the regulations that the board sets forward. So, you know, if you hear concerns about that, I welcome phone calls anytime. They can report those to us. Our website has a feature where they can report, you know, if they're concerned about a place they've been by. They could certainly contact me if they had a concern about how it was dealt with or anything like that. But we welcome that because we want folks to, you know, it's never fun to get, you know, a letter from the city, and we aren't trying to send more of those than are necessary. So there's some details from 2024 of our total violations. 401, and you note that only about 3% of those were escalated beyond the letter into the court, municipal court system. So some pictures here of before and after, just of items that are more common, you know, outside storage of indoor furniture, tall grass and weeds, just rubbish and trash, lots of unlicensed vehicles, and it kind of seems like things ebb and flow. We've sent out a lot of unlicensed vehicle violations in even the last month or so. I don't really know the answer for why that is, why they pick up at certain times, but they do. And so if you have concerns about that, feel free, please, to send folks in to see us or call us, or if you have questions about them, we can direct you to those ordinances as well. Another aspect of community development is dealing with dangerous buildings. In 2024, our city went forward with budgeting for our inaugural year of a dangerous structure demolition assistance fund, and we funded it that year with $12,000. This year we've put $24,000 towards that, and what that allows us to do is engage with property owners who are inclined to voluntarily demolish structures that are dangerous structures, and for us to give an incentive, you know, for them to do that, which would be the reimbursement of actual costs expended. So we brought that through the board and have a application process. It's just a first come, first serve. There's the only deeming, threshold of qualification is that we would do an inspection and say, yeah, this isn't just a brand new construction that you don't like the color of the brick and you want to build a new house, and that would just be a personal investment. But if it's a dangerous structure, and as you can imagine, we, like lots of communities, have a number of structures that would meet that threshold, and so this is a great program. And so I say part of that to put out to the public. We have some funds available this year. We're working with a couple folks that are interested in utilizing it, but we haven't expended all of those funds this year, so certainly welcome it. I think it's some of the best money we put into a neighborhood, is seeing a structure that's been an eyesore to neighbors, and it's voluntary, where this isn't the city coming and saying, we're taking your property or doing anything. It's someone identifying, yep, this needs to come down, but it's expensive to demolish a structure. And so this helps to offset that cost. It doesn't cover the full cost. It probably, depending on what kind of rate they're getting with a contractor, it probably covers half or maybe a little more than half, depending on disposal costs and things like that. So some other things that are important to note in our what you do hear more often about is our grant writing and special projects. So I'm just going to run through these slides pretty quickly because I know we come to the board pretty often about these types of topics. May not talk about the other aspects of community development as frequently, but grant writing, we are always bringing that to you when those applications come because we get resolutions and all. So far to date, though, I think it is unique to note that in just the last few years, we've been able to acquire nearly $3 million. Actually, I think we're pushing, likely to push just past that here very soon. You'll note our pending $535,000. That reflects the solar grant that we were notified of award, but we set that into our pending because when the politics changed at the executive level and nationally, a little bit of that has been in flux. All the word we've received so far is that there shouldn't be anything that jeopardizes those funds, but they don't know when they will have the confidence, they being the Department of Natural Resources at the Missouri level, will have the confidence the Department of Energy at the federal level will funnel those funds to them so that they can be confident they could reimburse us for our funds. So we, of course, are not going to expend hundreds of thousands of dollars without the confidence that we would receive that back. So that's in the pending. Assuming that comes through, we'd be well over $3 million that are funneling through the city with a pretty good approval rate so far. I figure eventually we're gonna, your fortune doesn't always last so long, but we've been blessed so far to receive a lot of good feedback. I'd even note, actually, this afternoon we received notice that we were the finalists and had an interview actually today for a $15,000 to $20,000 scholarship, essentially for a study to kind of accompany our active transportation plan. So there's a group called Lane Shift that is down in Bentonville, Rogers, Arkansas, and active transportation, bike riding, trails, that kind of thing is huge in that area, and is kind of the example for the country is kind of down in that area. And obviously there's a lot of investment from private donors and all, but they are going to come to Bolivar, and we'll work out the details of that. It'll be just in the next couple months, and they'll expend this $15,000 to $20,000 worth of work on our behalf to do some surveys, to do some walking and assessment of areas, and kind of set us up for hopefully to augment our existing plan for some other grants in the future. So real quickly, I think I can move through these because we've talked recently about our South Albany Avenue Trail. So there's ditch work there that will be done, box culverts that will come in, repairs to existing locations. Yes, sir.
Obviously, I'm new to this process. Exactly, just for me, please, sir, exactly where and what is this?
Yes, so this is South Albany. So on the image there, just to the south of the image would be the Buffalo and Springfield intersection.
That five-way thing.
Yep, five-way. So part of the project is to correct or improve that intersection by moving the Albany intersection about 120, 140 feet
Where
to
it
the
kind of
north.
goes up the hill there to the west from
Correct.
Albany.
Well, it goes to the east from Springfield. So we'll move north. We'll move the intersection of Albany and Springfield.
On Albany, it goes.
Yeah. So when we
right in front of the restaurant there, is that where you direct the traffic?
Not that far. Maupin.
That would be Maupin.
Yeah, that's Maupin. That's the next block forward.
Yes.
It will be, essentially, well, that drawing is giving a hashed location. It's north of the existing intersection, but it's not as far as Maupin. So
Okay.
it's about 140 or so feet north of the existing intersection. But the design goal
does it go across that space that has been demolished?
part of it, correct? Yes, we've acquired right of way for a part of that location, and then residents and board may have seen that Liberty Utilities recently relocated
Yeah, they've
utilities.
done some work along there for sure.
Yeah, they relocated overhead utilities in that area, and we're very quick to get that work done. So we were thankful. We're ready to begin that project. So the total project is to redevelop that road entrance to eliminate the 5-way intersection
Yeah.
at Buffalo, and then also to develop a walking trail along and improve the box culvert. If you're familiar with the back of the Sonic exit, that box
right.
culvert has
Yeah, that's
nearly
go- that's
failed. We
gone,
closed
right.
it. And that will be improved. There will be closed box culvert from there, moving north up to Walnut. There will be a trail on top of that, and then the rest of the way
to
there will
join
be.
the sidewalk that goes, that becomes Benton there
Correct.
at the bend.
Yeah,
And
and ultimately that's part of a plan. It will note some additional
Okay.
trails in the future. There,
Okay,
so.
thank you, sir. I'm
Mhm.
sorry.
Yep, and the next slide just real quickly shows the funding of that. Ultimately this will be a city cost of $100,000, and it's right around 1.5 million in the total award. So we were very fortunate at how we were able to work, and we're working diligently. It takes a lot of work to navigate two funding sources and coordinate those two funding sources in a way that, and so our finance department, I would give a lot of credit ahead of time. We're causing more work for them as we do these things, and we're thankful for their efforts and willingness to come along, and it's a team effort to get these things done. So the next project that I just mentioned is, again, one you're familiar with because we've brought applications, but of course, Mayor and others that are new on the board may not be as familiar with them, but Springfield Avenue, the entire scope of Springfield Avenue from Mount Gilead to Jackson, so down here at the downtown corridor, that was identified in our comprehensive plan as one of the priorities to develop essentially a path for walking or biking or biking along that entire corridor. Of course, in order to fund that, we broke that into some phases. The initial phase was to look at, or the initial scope was to look at from Aldrich to Mount Gilead. That we did break into some funding phases because it's high cost. It's a high cost location because of the stormwater that is required to be dealt with along that section. So anytime you're closing up stormwater, your costs
when do you be building something over
it? Yeah, your cost is greatly
wow.
increased. Box culverts and storm drains and curbing and all of that. That costs, a sidewalk can cost hundreds of thousands of dollars, and that's why this is broken into these phases. So the funding kind of shows these phases, and we'll plan for these in our budgeting. So the years here indicated are the years that we applied for the TAP funding and were granted those. Great River Engineering is nearly complete with their preliminary design for phase 1 and 2, which are funded all the way through construction. Phase 3 is funded for design. So, in the next, we project that project ideally will go to bid at the end of this year or very early next year and begin shortly thereafter. So, about a year from now, actually before then, we should hopefully see dirt moving on that project in particular, possibly sooner. So,
go ahead.
Yeah. So that's an exciting other project, and we'll certainly improve that area. Another area that was identified in our comprehensive plan was the Killingsworth Avenue and the need for pedestrian access along Killingsworth Avenue. People that are familiar with it know that that need is present. We applied for and received what's called a TEAP grant, transportation engineering assistance program funding, and so the cost for that is $3,000 to the city. The total project is $15,000, and that will be a study that gives us conceptual plans for how to construct sidewalk along that area, how to deal with the interaction between property owners and crossings. We have
just the study.
It's just the study, correct? Yeah, that study. What that does, those conceptual plans position us very well to move into like a TAP grant funding, which is what we did on Springfield Avenue. So obviously part of this is just mentioned, it's really, really, really important to always keep our pipeline moving, for always looking down the future. I'm very eager. I think you probably are as well, but I'm very eager for the Albany project to get started because we've been talking about these things, but it takes a long time to talk about these things before the dirt starts moving. That dirt is scheduled to, well, the utilities were already located, but it's scheduled to begin moving on July 7th. And that project, I didn't mention a second ago when we were looking at it, but a reminder, that project is intended to begin July 7th and end before Thanksgiving, have that work complete. That's the Albany project. So the last one here I'll mention is the East Loop. We've talked about that at length in other meetings, but the East Loop project overall, and just an update since our last meeting, we talked about the next step was that we would submit a 50-50 cost share application for the intersection along Highway 32 Broadway and along 83 Springfield. And so both of those applications have been submitted. Hopefully we'll hear back from that here this summer. I believe June to July is when they project to award those. And we also have additional funding, as I've laid out to the board in other greater details. There's a little chart here, a pie chart that shows some of that funding. It's similar though to the documents that I've given you in more detail, but happy to share those as needed. Okay, last area I want to make mention of is our streets and maintenance department. There's all sorts of work that's constantly going on in our streets department, and various different things, everything from streets and sidewalks to our cleanup, and we do some work along the trails. We kind of overlap with the parks department. They do a great job maintaining and doing the mowings or tree trimming and things like that, but we come along if there's maybe like a part of the trail that needs repaired or rebuilt or reconstructed, that type of thing. So that's kind of one of the ways we interact. I left some notes in here and can just quickly look at so people have an idea of the scope of citywide cleanup. That's a significant event. It takes 2 weeks of our time, which you take as a total year. That's a significant investment of the department. This was by the numbers last year. You've seen these numbers before. It's been a year though, so you probably wouldn't remember them, and it was interesting for me to look back at them as well. But you see, over 1,600 stops, almost 200,000 pounds of trash that was removed from the city. Just think about the impact that has for folks that don't have to do that on their own, just have to move it to the curb. 140 landfill trips, that's a lot of trips in full dump trucks. And so we were able to do that in 2 weeks last year. We expect to have the same success, and I'll have numbers for you when that is complete after that this year. Okay. Street improvements last year, I won't belabor this slide, but those were the street improvements that were completed in 2024. We did end up completing that project early and under budget, but we want to spend those funds that we allocate for that. So our street improvements list this year, if you go next slide, thank you. That's our list. This was a list that was given to the board back in February, it was, and then asked for additional input, and we've compiled this. This is being, it's already been published in the paper, noticed for release tomorrow. That will be opened May 20th. That bid opening will be, and we are likely to see the bid come in above our budget number, and we'll, discuss with the board how we will adjust these locations as needed, and address that. But we should see a use. I know one of the questions was last year, and rightly so, just how to utilize those funds all the way. We had bids that came in. So, and admittedly, I stepped into the role in January of the previous year, and we were kind of rushed even to get to bid, and then you have risers that you have to order. So we've learned some lessons. We'll be well prepared and well suited to get that project all the way to the finish line at as close to the dollar figure we budgeted for that, so we can get as much invested each year in the street overlay. I think that is all that I have for the
What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah, I'm looking for it, but we'll
okay.
we'll find something else. Yeah.
Questions? Alderman Wilson.
Yes, sir. First off, we appreciate everything you guys do. I've been getting a lot of calls, especially with the storms, with the code enforcement side. And normally you just get the phone calls that are, hey, I got this issue. And here lately you've been getting calls of, hey, thank you for resolving this issue. So with that, the question I have, can you kind of go over the trash can? I know it's kind of low there, but you know, how long can the trash can be out there before and after trash pickup? You know, I've had a lot of issues with, I've got trash going all over the place in our ward and stuff like that. So I'm not sorry to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know if I can pull the exact reference. I believe it's the day before and the day after. It is limited to your actual trash day. I was going to see how quickly I could pull that. I may not be able to as fast as would be reasonable right now, but it is limited to the actual pickup date. So to answer your question broadly, it's the regulation's written in such a way that it's not intended for people to leave their carts that they're putting their trash bags into. It's not intended for them to leave those at the curb permanently. It's intended for them to bring them out before their trash arrives and bring them back. It's not a common violation we would write, just partly because of our own knowledge of trash. We're not tracking everybody's trash cycle and that kind of thing. But if a resident has a concern, it's a legitimate concern. You know, if the board puts forward a nuisance violation, we're going to try to fairly notice people of those violations. So if a resident has a concern, they can reach out to us. We would, in a case like that, take a picture and then recheck before we would send a violation to see if it actually had been present for that extended period of time and that kind of thing. So it's kind of similar. We have a similar one to garage sales that sometimes we have to go by the garage sale 3 or 4 times to see, okay, is this really a thing? And we try to do our best in due diligence to be fair to people and not, we're not looking to needlessly harass, but we also recognize that the board passes regulations that it's our job to look into and try to enforce fairly. So
Mr. Ross.
Couple questions on the dangerous buildings.
Mm-hmm.
So when somebody gets a dangerous building violation, how long do they have to make it less dangerous?
Yeah. So when you receive, if someone receives a dangerous building violation, it will be accompanied by a section of the ordinance that details, what section it applies to, and it will also be given a detail of a corrective order. So that corrective order could be as simple as, pull a permit and repair the fallen, porch roof or something. It could be broad enough to say, hey, just communicating the information that's necessary. It could be as extreme as, pull a permit and demolish the structure, remove the structure. It really just depends on the nature of the violation. But they immediately and it's set out in our ordinances, they have 30 days. There's an appeal process set out in ordinances. We reference all of that in the letter that someone would receive, as well as the greater reference within our code that anyone could access. And then at that point, there is a hearing, actually, and myself as the building official would give the original notice, would sign that, and then at a hearing, actually it's our city administrator, they take the position as the building commissioner, is what it is called within the ordinances, and basically at that point we would present, is this legitimately a dangerous building or not? The person would have the right to come and make it is a hearing. I mean, we would have a court reporter and that type of thing. It's a formal process, and they would have the right to contest whether it actually is. The building commissioner then will make a decision, and from that point they'll have another 30 days then to comply or to reasonably, make arrangements. Some things couldn't be complied with in that short of a notice, and I would consider part of the, complying, and have always dealt, I think, real fairly with folks, is if you pull a permit and you're, showing due diligence, then that seems to be the intent of the regulation, to make the repair. And sometimes it takes some time, or you have parts or something that have to be ordered and that kind of thing. So,
comments or questions? Thank you, Mr. Lee. That's breathtaking.
Thank you.
All right. I have the next, the note I have for the next is either is Alderman Neal or Mr. Lee. Does Alderman Neal want to bring us up to date on planning and zoning? Would he rather pass that on?
Oh, I think Kyle needs a chance to talk. No, I think that Kyle can bring you up to speed on that if he wants to. Especially Kyle, if you wouldn't mind explaining what role planning and zoning specifically would have in working toward those goals, because I know some of them are
Sure.
parks related goals, some of them are ones that maybe fall that this board would need to make some decisions about, but sort of what progress planning and zoning could reasonably make on those.
You have the floor.
Okay, thank you. So the Planning and Zoning Commission, serves various functions for the city, but of course, planning is one of them in the name. They receive applications for rezones and make recommendations to this board. So anything that needs ultimate approval still funnels through the board, but it comes recommended or not recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission. So even things that are not recommended by the Planning and Zoning Commission come to the board for approval or denial. And so those things come. So one of the ways, though, that the commission can help serve the planning function, and commission members are just, members of the community. They're serving volunteer. They are giving of their time and their energy and all for that. But they can give input really into the process of, what areas should be zoned or, how we should address our subdivision regulations. That's a significant section of our regulations for how construction is engaged with in the city. And some other guidance they can give is guidance to the staff that comes not just from a staff-centered. You kind of sometimes get your blinders up and you don't always see what other people are seeing out in the community. So it's a really important role they would serve to say, hey, what about these things? Have you thought about sidewalks in this area? Have you thought about, this park over here and the concerns we're hearing about that? And sometimes that would just funnel right to staff members like Todd for instance, dealing with the park, the director of our Parks and Recreation. Other times it might take a greater set of planning or maybe some application for grants and things like that. So that's some different areas that they would be involved in. Of course, the board can be involved really in any of those areas as well, because you're serving in your role, obviously, as representatives for the community also. So what we put forward this year was a list of about 25 or so topics to the Planning and Zoning Commission, and said, one thing I think is important is that our staff, when we're not dealing with the day-to-day, we have to deal with the day-to-day things that come up. But another thing that I think is important is that we're planning for the future, but we're doing that, guided by those that are elected or appointed by the community. So we put forward 25 or so things and said, these are things we hear about. What do you think, Commission, that we should invest our time in trying to move forward in the city? Some of them will be quicker. Some of them are a little bit more ethereal and, planning and that kind of thing. So this is the list. I can just move quickly through them if you'd like, or, you can look at them on your own here. What would you prefer here?
I think you have exhausted yourself, and we will not punish unless they.
If you look at them and have any questions, I will just note what we tried to do this year also is show in that parenthesis afterwards, we showed how this is linked to what section of the comprehensive plan. So really important for anybody that wants to know, why are you doing this project? It's a question when we talked about the welcome sign. Why would you do that? Well, it was something that was identified within the city's comprehensive plan. The comprehensive plan was developed through lots of community involvement, ultimately came through Planning and Zoning Commission, as well as through the board, and was adopted. So these are all guided by that. And if anybody wants to access the comprehensive plan, it's on the city's website. It's under a section called Plans. You can access the comprehensive plan, other streets and sidewalk plans. But
well, I sort of answered for the panel. I presume that we have felt like we have exhausted you. Are there any more comments that you'd like to add?
No, sir.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Lee. Okay, Chief Watkins, you're up next. Let's hear about fireworks.
Good evening. Fireworks go boom. No. So setting the dates as per ordinance, looking at the calendar, proposing the dates of July 28th, which is a Saturday. June. Sorry. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate y'all catching me. June 28th through July 5th. So that most of the stands stop selling on the 4th or 5th. That also, if people go back on work on the 6th, that gives that Sunday off, but then kind of gives us that weekend before. So it's a little longer this year, but the way the 4th falling on that Friday, but that is what I am presenting to the board as for fireworks allowable in the city of Limits.
Can you go over the? I'm sorry.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. President. That's fine.
Can you go over the hours of being able to indulge in fireworks?
Indulge. It is. I think it's till.
I think last year it was till 11 p.m.
Then yeah, that'll be the same this year because the ordinance has not changed.
Thank you.
That's pretty straightforward. Are there any comments or questions from the panel? I guess not. Okay. Well, Chief Watkins, that was easy.
I like that.
Okay. All right. The next item about I'm not sure who is appropriate to address this about the auctioning off these old items.
Yes, Mayor.
Mr.
Anytime
Effa.
we have an
Yes, sir.
item that we're ready to dispose of, it's a certain value, we need to get board approval.
Okay, Counselor, what is the proper thing to do at this point?
Probably would entertain a motion, Mr. Mayor, to authorize the auction of the items listed there on the agenda.
All right, I'll do just that. I'm entertaining a motion to auction off a Keystone camper trailer and a 1997 Hallmark enclosed trailer and a 2004 Crown Victoria and a 1998 Dodge Ram 350.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion. Okay. Does that require a voice, a roll call?
Nope, that can just be.
Okay, those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. The ayes have it. We have approved the auction for said items. Mr. Ballard, did you want to kind of bring us up to date on what we're getting ready to have? What's getting ready to happen?
Yep. Our calendar events. So May 13th is our next work session. May 27th, the regular session. April 26th, this Saturday, is the citywide garage sale. There's also a big SBU meet Saturday and a big event at First Baptist Church. There's going to be a lot of people in town. April 28th starts the citywide cleanup. A lot of people are very eager and already got their things out on the curb. That's great. May 3rd is the 2025 CMH Heroes for Hospice 5K, 10K. Also, May 3rd is Missouri Beef Days Street Festival. And that night is the Boots and Blings. May 10th, 2025 Beef Days Parade. June 15th, Life Church Father's Day Car Show. And June 28th, Rohrbach Services Block Party. Busy
What's
spread.
going on in our town? And I think we ought to participate in it as much as we possibly can. I will now ask for a motion to be to go into executive session. Is that the proper way to do that?
Yes.
I move we go into executive session pursuant to RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 1, legal actions, cause of action, or litigation involving a public governmental body and any confidential or privileged communications between a public governmental body or its representatives and its attorney. RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 3, hiring, firing, disciplining, or promoting a particular employees by a public governmental body when personal information about the employee is discussed or recorded. RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 13, individually identifiable personnel records, performance ratings, or records pertaining to employees or applicants for employment. And RSMO 610.021, subparagraph 19D, operational guidelines, policies, and specific response plans developed, adopted, or maintained by any public agency responsible for law enforcement, public safety, first response, or public health for use in responding to or preventing any critical incident which has the potential to endanger individual or public safety or health, preceded by a 5-minute break.
Yes.
And if anyone else thinks that they could do it like that, they will be welcome to the next time we have one of these. Okay, we take a roll call. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Wilson.
Aye.
Neal.
Aye.
Sagister.
Aye.
Ross.
Aye.
Ballard.
Aye.
Price.
Aye.
Moores.
7 ayes and 0 nays. We are going into executive session, which means our guest will have to find somewhere else to go.